Hello and welcome. Today on BOI Weekly, veteran filmmaker Yemi Amodu joins the list of players in Nigeria's creative industry to benefit from the Bank of Industry's 2 billion naira Nolly Fund for his soon-to-be-released movie, Shadow Parties. Inspired by a personal experience, Yemi Amodu's star-studded film focuses on the ills and futility of bitter and deadly communal wars and how love came to the rescue. For this project, Yemi Amodu is working with Afrinoli, one of the production studios that also benefited from the Bank of Industry's intervention. They speak to BOI Weekly about the impact of the Nolly Fund, not just for their individual projects, but also for Nigeria's creative industry. I'm Kayode Alayande. Stay close for details.
No, I don't have.
The Nigerian creative industry has been recognized as one of the country's most dynamic economic sectors. Back in 2013, the creative sector contributed 1.42% to the nation's rebased gross domestic product (GDP), with an estimated annual revenue of $590 million. That's according to Africa Renewal, a publication of the United Nations.
We're going to take this thing to the finish line, or you're going to quit on me too?
I'll be sticking around.
Any employee, even you, could be spying for a rival firm, right?
Despite the huge potential it carries, access to structured finance and distribution channels are major challenges confronting the industry. The federal government says, going by its Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, the entertainment and creative industry will contribute at least $1 billion to the economy by the end of 2020. To achieve this, the federal government made multi-level investments in the sector. One of these was through the Bank of Industry. In 2015, the Bank of Industry launched a 2 billion naira intervention specifically targeted at professionals in the entire value chain of the creative industry. Talk about filmmakers, production studios, writers, and distribution channels like cinemas, to mention a few. The scheme, called Nolly Fund, was initiated to ensure that movies produced in Nigeria met international standards by providing the needed financing required to grow the film industry and address the collateral requirements needed to access loans. This way, more jobs would be created as the production capacity of the industry swells. Since then, several professionals in the movie industry have taken advantage of this intervention to fund their projects, like The CEO by Kunle Afolayan and Isoke by Jadi Oshiberu. The list is endless.
Oh, you boy!
The impact of Nolly Fund is already being felt with the quality and volume of movies the industry has churned out in recent years.
I do hope we have the most productive period together over the course of the week.
Yemi Amodu, a veteran filmmaker, is one of the latest round of beneficiaries of the BOI Nolly Fund for his work, Shadow Parties. BOI Weekly caught up with him recently as he tells us about the soon-to-be-released movie and the impact of BOI's intervention.
You see, the theme of Shadow Parties is fratricidal war, communal clashes, internecine kind of, So I was almost a victim of that kind of situation, war situation, sometimes in the year 2000. I was going to attend a function. I don't want to mention the names of the towns that were involved. So I was attending a function somewhere, in the bucolic area, the kind of rustic, setting in Yoruba land here. So there was this bus that was parked, and the name of the town I was going, was being advertised. So I ran into the bus, and you know what? By the time we got to a particular point, it is a flash point to me up to date. They just swerved up the road and into the bush, and they ordered us down. Immediately we got to that bush, men with machete, with knife, with cutlass, with, you know, clubs, with broken bottles, with amulets. They came out. Guns, you know. I thought they were thieves, but they were not. They were warriors, fighting, defending, shamelessly. They said they were defending their towns. Their town. So they ordered us down. They were trying to separate us, you know, through our accent. Talk. Everybody, we were forgetting. We were apprehensive. Only 3 of us were lucky. Myself, one guy, and a girl. Because of our accent, we were separated from others. And the others, they started to machete, they started to stab, they started to, in fact, we took to our heel without being ordered to. Shadow parties is the story of a young man and his sister. They both lost our parents to this kind of war 25 years earlier. And by the time they had to celebrate, you know, the remembrance of their lost, you know, parents, the brother lost his sister to that kind of a war again, because the sister married into the enemy town. And that kind of war erupts again, comes up again.
Well, sounds like a very good story, and I would like to see it. Let's now talk about your experience with the Bank of Industry, especially the Nolly Fund.
Yes. With Bank of Industry Nolly Fund scheme, when I assessed it, and luckily for me, I was able to get it, you know. So I saw it as a predication, a platform for me, you know, to catapult. So to show to the world that at least I can make something, you know, unique a bit, you know, which is quite different from the pedestrian kind of a thing that you have been doing in the past. So with the Nolly Fund scheme, I set myself into, you know, action, calling my creative collaborators together, bringing everybody together, you know, for we have an opportunity to do it. And with their support and so on, you know, we faced it, all the challenges, all the, you know, I don't call them unnecessary. I say necessary challenges we must face as a filmmaker, because one film with its own experience. So we faced it, and today we thank God it ends in peace.
Kabisi, how long? It's so. It is true. Kabisi, this is the only thing we found in your car. This belongs to Father Kemi.
Now with BOI, I know that I have to draft my ROI, return on investment. Okay, if we invest also amount of money, how do I generate the revenue? How do I make the thing return? What are the things that I have to consider? Okay, we have several types of market. We have the PPV, we have the domestic viewing, we have the domestic cinema, we have the foreign cinema, we have the online. We have so many things that have, so many markets that are open, that are there, that one can really, you know, explore, but that we have, you know, we were not even aware they were existing. So until I am engaged, you know, in this Nolly Fund scheme. So with the Nolly Fund scheme, so many things you are exposed to, so many things, and you become structured as a filmmaker.
Nolly is one of the production houses under the Bank of Industry's 2 billion naira Nolly Fund scheme. Bobola Oniwura is the creative director and film colorist at Nolly. Also, Nolly is the official production partner on the Shadow Parties project. Bobola Oniwura worked closely with Yemi Amodu on his movie.
BOI created the Nolly Fund, and it's a very laudable initiative that has helped several producers to be able to bring forth the dreams of them creating their content. And in that light, BOI felt producers will also need studios where they can end-to-end, from pre-production to post, have their work go through standard production processes. And Nolly was selected as one of those studios. And over the last couple of years, we've been working with different producers on their films, from pre to post, from reading the scripts to advising on kind of equipment, to the teams that work on those productions, then to post-production that is done in here at Nolly. So from pre-production, Mr. Yemi brought shadow parties to us, and from that level, we started advising on the script. We have a script team that deals with looking at scripts that come in from the BOI point of view, and then we advise on certain things on the script. Then it moves to my own team, which is the production and the post-production team, that sits and advises on the kind of cameras to use, the kind of lighting, the tone for the film and the picture itself, and also that tone also determines what eventually you get when we eventually work on the picture in terms of color grading. So the idea was to create a look and feel that is close as possible to Queen of Katwe, the film that was done in Africa that Lumpita was part of. So, and to make it so natural in such a way that people can relate with the environment they see, the picture quality must be such that people cannot actually say, okay, I can relate with this, I can relate with this environment, I can relate with this kind of scenario. And that was what we were aiming at, and that was what we were able to achieve with the work eventually. Different studios and companies have sent in, even advertising agencies have sent in their editors for that kind of training, so that over time, several things that we ship abroad will be done in-house here. Color grading should be done in Nigeria. The same way we edit here, we should be able to do colors to the best the world can see. And we should be able to deliver to any platform, either it's cinema or Netflix or any other VOD. We should be able to deliver quality to those platforms. Three things are still key for any story to be well done. Number one, the script. Number two, the production design. I think we've been able to master the use of cameras to a certain level. We've been able to get great or good cinematographers. But what we've not been able to link together with the cinematographer or with the cinematography is production design. I think what we need to now improve on is costume designers talking with production designers in such a way that when you want to determine the tone that you want your picture to be, despite the fact that cinematographers will do their work, those two aspects of production must align to create the look that we actually want to see. So talking to production designers and costume designers at the same time on the same table. So it's not going to increase the cost in any way. It's just going to increase the quality of what you see because of the synergy of what they are going to put together. One of the most exciting things for me about Shadow Party is the diversity of the story, in the sense that there have been several kinds of stories in the cinema lately or over the last couple of years. But this story puts together both fun and educational, like I said, and also puts together the ability for people to watch and reflect on our society and why we do the things we do and why we behave the way we behave. Sometimes this is the kind of stories that you watch that allows you to be able to see yourself in the story and then tell yourself that, okay, I should do things differently.